We're back with Gomin Camacho. Gomin, good afternoon and welcome to CWS as it is.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Collins.
How are you?
I'm great.
I just love the youth in Guyana and that we are still a country of respect. But and you can call me Selwyn for the show. Thank you so very much. Okay?
Yes, I
All
will.
right. So please tell us something about yourself and what you do.
Well, my name is Gomin Camacho. I am a Guyanese and a current international relations student at the University of Guyana. I'm in my second year and I've recently completed my diploma in marketing. And I'm very passionate about helping in any way that I can the environment, children.
I see.
Uh,
Women's issues. I read your bio early on women's issues, environmental and agriculture. You're quite a busybody as I was reading this afternoon. I'm realizing how much work you do. So where do you find the time to be involved in all these different activities?
Well, I can say at times it does get overwhelming for me, but I am currently working part time with my parents. So, besides school in the evening, I have a lot of free time to dedicate to volunteering.
Yeah.
So, I just try to organize that well so I can make maximum use of my time.
You're still very young, and young people have a tendency sometimes to get caught up in, extracurricular activities like playing and having fun and so on and so forth. But you have taken up serious causes. You are interested in suicide issues, interested in women issues. You're interested in the environment. So tell me, how did you become interested in environmental issues?
Well, first of all, I volunteer with a group of youths in Guyana here in Commons Lodge, and we were looking for a service project to do, and the youth were very excited about doing something for the environment because they look around Guyana and we all look around and see it is not in the best state when it comes to littering and keeping the place clean and all that. So they were excited to do something for the environment. So they mostly inspired me.
Ah, I see. And international relations student, yet here you are involved in the environment. What happened? What is this pull in the about the environment? Why are you so eager to be there?
Well, in my everyday environment, I like it to be clean and it's conducive to a good health and so on. So I think generally, no matter your field in life, then you just need a good and clean environment because we need that for the future generations too.
Mhm.
So I'm very passionate about preserving the environment for the future generations.
So tell us about your involvement with children, and also the spiritual empowerment program.
Well, the spiritual empowerment program is a Baha'i-inspired program, and as a Hindu, I was even drawn to this program because it's so strategic and well planned out and laid out that I can follow this step-by-step process to teach these youth on so many different issues, moral issues
Mhm.
and environmental, and working with these youth, it gives them a means of expressing themselves in in such a way that other forums around them or they're, even if they're not forums, that this is an opportunity for them to express themselves.
Mhm.
So they're empowered.
What is that like for you when you get together with these youth and you're teaching them? Do you get any sort of resistance from them? How do you become? I mean, you're so young yourself, but how do you become a teacher? How do you keep order? How do you keep them well, not order, but how you keep them interested in what you have to say?
Well, I must say I work with an exciting bunch of youth. They're between the ages of 12 and 15,
Hmm.
and I think the material that we go through, it is relatable to everyday life, and they get an opportunity to study comprehensive material and relate that back to situations that they're dealing with every day. So that kind of draw their attention because they want to express themselves, and this is just a medium for them to do so.
And what gives you satisfaction when you're working with them?
My my satisfaction is, I don't think I can sum that up. It varies so much,
Uh huh.
but their expressions, the joy that they express, and it's the little things that they might say that encourages me so much. And I can see a change in their attitude for the better and for positive changes. So that's exciting for me.
What frustrates you the most when you're working with young people, or you have to introduce them to something new, or one of those values, those principles you talk about just now? What is most frustrating for you?
Um, I think there's a little challenge with teamwork. At first, they have a little problem getting along with new persons, and these are persons from their community, but they're different in so many ways. So getting them to work together, that's a challenge, but it's so beautiful when that's overcome.
Wow. Can you give us an experience you had where you had a challenge in the beginning, and then it something just shifted and things became better? Can you describe one of those experiences for us?
Sure. So there are a few girls in the group. They're all scholarish, and they see some other youths. They're mostly playing in the streets. So these are two different sets of youth. Some are more inclined to the books, and then some are, more inclined to recreation. So when they come together in this group, sometimes the ones that are more academically um, you know, drawn, they might feel a bit superior.
Hmm.
So in a little conversation outside of the group that we have with them, they learn these attitudes to interact with persons that are more recreationally drawn,
Hmm.
and they come together now, and they help each other in areas that they may be weak in, and it's so wonderful to see that happening.
Do you ever draw from that population, that group of young people, when they get it, when they start working together, to introduce them to cleaning up the environment, or the importance of a litter free environment? Do you ever introduce that to them?
Well, what we try to do is get them to sound their own opinions
Uh huh.
and try to mold that in a way that they can present that to the public. So they actually came up with ideas such as doing do not litter posters, and that's something simple that any youth can do. So they decided to start making them. They were guided by us, and they did some wonderful flyers. I mean, that sort of stuff they can do themselves
Hmm.
once they're guided. And how that inspired me was their energy. You know that they can do this, and it's mostly their ideas. And then I was like, how can I lend to this? How can I make this better?
And your head is being cut off a little bit now. Um, awesome. And your peers, there are two friends of yours that I'm going to bring the three of you back to have a panel discussion at some point. But how did you get them involved, or how did the three of you? let me leave that question for when the three of you are here. But how do your friends participate in what you're doing?
Well, I was trying to link this program to the University of Guyana somehow.
Hmm.
And when I look around campus, I see that, persons were littering in the classrooms they were sitting to learn in. So I was like, I need to get some friends together and do something about this. But what can I do than just complain? Because everybody was complaining about it, but nobody was doing anything.
Talking about the university, there's
Yes.
an association, UGIAA, University of Guyana International Affairs Association. Describe that for us, and tell us what is your involvement with it.
Well, as of recently, I haven't been so active in that club, but what the UGIA does is that they, the students of the University of Guyana that's a part of that club, they represent the university and Guyana by extension on models of the OAS, of that such, and they gain experience. They're international relations students, so they're able to represent Guyana on various issues and gain experience for the future.
Hmm. Do you travel sometimes, and in this capacity? Have you ever traveled on an academic capacity?
I haven't yet traveled, but I plan to soon.
So, according to you, I want to go back to pollution. We've just had an elections and in Guyana, and the change of government, and they're cleaning up. They're cleaning up the environment and so on, which is a wonderful thing. How does that resonate with you? Can you
Hello?
hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I was asking you, how did this whole cleanup campaign happening around the city? How does that resonate with you?
Well, at first, I was generally, I feel excited that, our environment is getting clean, and a lot of it is by youth. And I mean, the general public is a part of it, but a lot of it is driven by power. So I like the energy coming out from that, and
Hmm.
it's cleaning up the environment. But at the same time, it worries me that it's not a sustainable method of going about this.
What would you recommend if you were asked by one of the by a particular ministry or the government, what would you recommend?
I think it's two things. Citizens need to be educated on environmentally friendly practices, and this is why this is such a huge topic. But I think youth can be a part of that educational process and drive that to citizens. And the other part of it is the problem with littering is they have no bins to throw their waste, so they just throw it on the floor on the.
So let me ask you a question, Gobin. Gomin, sorry. If you were invited to give some advice to the government, what are three or let's say the mayor, what are three or four things you would recommend to help with this cleanup effort, or with with sustainability? Then what would you recommend?
I would recommend the process of sustainable management disposal,
Hmm.
and I think that originated in Europe, and the European countries use this method, and it's a pyramid that talks about first reducing the amount of waste that you use, to reuse what you can from that waste,
Hmm.
and to recycle what you
How
can't reuse.
how does this how is this reflected in your home and your friends' home and so on? I mean, let's start with your home. But do you know other people who have adopted this particular method?
Well, it's not that wide in Guyana, but personally, I can say I try my best to to reduce the amount of plastics, especially that I use.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a personal effort, and I try to encourage my family with that too. We, as much as possible, try to reuse what we can instead of putting it out as waste. But when it comes to recycling, not there isn't a system in place in Guyana for us to recycle our waste. There isn't a plant as such. So for the recycling aspect, it's just whatever little using plastic bottles, you can probably make something out of that. But for the other items, it's not just there's not a real system in place.
And you'd be much too young to remember this, but there was a time in Guyana when recycling wasn't necessarily an eco conscious effort, but it was because a matter of economics. And people recycle. They didn't dispose their bags that easily. They didn't dispose plastic containers easily. People found all sorts of creative uses for them. As you mentioned that just now, I just remembered that wow, we were forced to reuse stuff because it was a matter of necessity. I wonder how that can be translated into a society where it's not a necessity in terms of economics. Well, I guess eventually it will become that, but in terms of ecology or environmental health. So, would you say are some of the major causes of pollution in the city that you personally have discovered?
I think plastic bottles and styrofoam, they're thrown on the side of the streets and so on. They get into the drain and they clog the drains. So it's mostly drainage and I think burning. There's a lot of burning of garbage and burning of tires and plastics and tins that give off all these harmful gases and so on. So I think those are two of the main pollution
What about
here.
Tell us about this youth-based organization you just founded? What is the name? Is there a name for it?
Yes, there is.
What is the name?
The the youth-based organization is called Guyana Environment Initiative.
Mm-hmm.
And what we do is we use plastic bottles and tires to make bins using these items. So
Really?
the process of making the bin is so fun, first of all, and then the thought of getting those bins out in the environment and have persons use them, that's even more exciting. And I think what our team at GEI, Guyana Environment Initiative, plans to do is to not just put those bins out in the environment, but we will educate the public as best as we can on environmentally friendly practices.
So describe one of these bins for me.
Okay, so what we do is we stack 3 or 4 tires on top of each other,
Yeah.
and we have the inside. We place a garbage bag in there, and that serves as a bin. So
Wow.
the process of actually making the bin is binded from the inside using binding wire,
Yes.
and we paint the bins in all sorts of fun colors. And we have this right now, the pilot project at the University of Guyana, and we're learning the ups and downs of this. So that's where we are right now.
So have you rolled out some of these bins yet? Or are they placed in the city or anywhere in your neighborhood as yet? Or are you just testing them out?
Right now, we're just they're just on campus. That's where the pilot project is happening. And after we learn from that experience, we'll start taking it. We hope for university students that they can learn the method of this and then take this into their community. And the University of Guyana has about 5,000 students. So if at least half of that can take this into the communities, then
This is
right
brilliant.
there we can start a method of a litter-free environment.
This is brilliant. What are some of the professors saying?
Well, they're excited about it. They lend us support. They allow us to announce their our project in the classrooms. So they're so excited that the university students are doing something so innovative, and it's so helpful for the environment.
And your parents?
My parents are supportive of everything I do, and I I couldn't have been doing any of this without them.
What comes to mind when you think about the environment? What comes to mind right away?
When I think of the environment, I think of a garden. I think of wide varieties of flowers everywhere.
You know, you are trained in suicide intervention and is working on spreading awareness first about suicide in Guyana. Why is this so important to you?
Well, I had a friend that had a personal experience with suicide, and that affected me tremendously. But aside from that, I was very curious about how I can get involved because I saw all the headlines on a weekly basis with a suicide case.
If you were to come back here a year from now, CWS, to tell us about your progress, tell us about the evolution of what is it, GEI. What do you think you'll be telling us, Gobin?
What I hope to be telling you is that the environment here in Guyana, especially Georgetown, is now transformed back to its former glory of the status of a garden city, and youth had a large role to play in that.
Oh, you know, you just made me smile listening to that. That is a beautiful message a year from now. What is next for you? What is your next project?
So, our next activity for Guyana Environment Initiative
Yeah.
will be probably after final exams at university. It should be in a few weeks. We will try our best to take this project into a community and test and see the response of persons living there.
Uh huh.
So that's what we plan to do next.
You're a vice president of a drama club.
Yes, I am.
Why drama? Why did you get into drama?
Well, my mom liked to say I'm a very dramatic person, but beside from home, I don't think so. And the real reason I got involved with the drama club is myself and a few friends thought that on campus there weren't really any clubs that we could be a part of and spend our spare time there.
Uh huh.
So we decided to start the drama club so that people can express themselves through this medium. And it's not just limited to drama; it's wide. It's all the performing arts, music, dancing, poetry, and what we aim to do with the drama club is to revive cultural arts on campus, and I think we're making tremendous efforts in this area.
Hmm. What is one message you have for other young people?
I say to get off of social media, do something active, get into a drama club or an environmental club, and get out there and do something useful with your time. It's fun at the same time. You learn so much.
You want to repeat the first part of that statement again? Get off of social media.
Yes.
Are you saying this to some of your friends?
I mean, my friends are my friends because they're a part of so many activities I'm involved in.
Uh huh.
So they're quite active. So I'm sending this message to persons that are not part of our groups as yet. I want them to get on board and just get involved.
You have this GEI group. What would be exciting for you in terms of recruitment? What would make you really happy?
commitment. I think that when persons see our activities online and so on, that they get excited. The response is great. Persons are reaching out to us so much.
In time. It's just in time. Well, last question. What is your favorite form of relaxation?
Let's see. What do I use? I think music. I enjoy music a lot, and I actually relax around the youth
Uh huh.
because that brings me so much joy. I get into relax mode, and I feel like I can be. I mean, I'm not as young as they are, but I can feel that way when I'm among them.
Gomin, you're not even in your 30s yet, and you
No.
use you're using that language. I'm not as young as they are, and I feel younger when I speak with them. Well, I want to tell you, I want to say thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's been a pleasure, and
Thank you
I'm
for having.
you're welcome, and I'm really happy with what I am seeing the young people in Guyana are doing. So here, I guess this is the right time, but have a good evening.